What's going on, everybody? It's Rich Perez welcoming you back into another weekly dose of the rundown. Join in with me, as always, my brother from another, my co-host, all the way from the O, Kayson Davis. How you doing, Kay?
Good. I'm doing good today. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Uh, so I had like the relatives come visit. My mom's came through. She was here for like a week. Then my sister pulled up, so she was here for like a couple of days too. So that was fun getting to see them again. But I'm a little burnt out. I'm not gonna lie. You know how it is like when like you away and then people come visit and you got to host for like an extended period of time. You just get tired, and you know.
Yeah, no, that go. And happy birthday to you, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. Pushing 30, pushing 30.
Well, it's not that time yet, so you're good.
It's not. We still got 2 more years to go. But man, oh man, is it getting crazy? Is it getting crazy out here in these streets with this with the way that with how old I'm getting, man? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, we got news that we got to talk about today. So we just came off an All-Star break. Um, I might be alone on this opinion too. By the way, I admittedly I did not watch the All-Star game in its entirety. I did catch some highlights though, and it's still not really much of an exciting game to me. I'm still watching dudes just score at will because nobody's really defending them like that. They need to fix the dunk contest because that was probably the worst dunk contest in the history of dunk contests. I didn't even know we could sink that low. At this point, I think I would rather have the skills challenge like later on than the dunk contest. Like the 3 point contest is clearly like become the competition that is like forefront of All-Star weekend, no?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, shout out to those guys. They went out there and tried. I think at this point too, there's you have to get real creative because we kind of seen like mostly everything now. So obviously, a lot of that was just because those guys were missing dunks and things like that. But like, I think it's pretty tough. And and like everyone's saying, we don't have the best dunkers out there. So I still shout out to those guys for getting out there and trying. But yeah, it was terrible.
Like Jalen Green probably could have won the dunk contest if he could. Sometimes they think a little too much, and then like they just tried to. I think Clyde Drexler said it best, right? He said just hit dunk when you're starting out. You need to hit dunks that you know you can make. These guys are going out there doing all this crazy stuff on the first try. I didn't even know who that dude from the Golden State Warriors was, and he over here beating out guys that like are household names as rookies and stuff. And by the way, man, I love Cole Anthony. You feel me? He's put on for New York, first top tier basketball for not just basketball player, but top tier point guard to come out of New York since Stephon Marbury, I believe. But bro, the Tims really. I was a little corny. Come on, his dad was looking at him like you and then he was doing a little dance right before. That's how you knew he was gonna lose.
I mean, in his defense, it's not easy to dunk in Tim's. So
Why
yeah,
would I don't know why. What would make you do that?
like you say, he's putting on for New York. Obviously, maybe it didn't come off, and maybe a lot of people not from New York when it didn't get it. But you take away the flashy showboat and dancing and stuff, it's not easy dunking in Tim. So like
And it's that, but that's why I was killing him for it because you knew why would you put on Tim's to dunk?
that's
Number
the
one, he could have got hurt doing that.
that's the point of the dunk though. It's maybe people didn't like the creativity of it, but that's pretty creative to try to dunk in some Tims. And he caught it, and I think he windmilled it.
He
That's
tried.
that's that's the difficulty on that is kind of that's up there.
He tried. He certainly did try. I will give him that. I guess the big topic of discussion for this now we are in the second half of the NBA season now. This is it. It's full throttle, full steam ahead. It's full steam ahead. This is where we find out who's who in this league and what to expect. So before the All-Star break, the Boston Celtics had won 9 of their last 11. They annihilated the Sixers, 135 to 87. But they ended their 9-game win streak against the Detroit Pistons. They have since coming off the All-Star break have looked pretty good though. So I mean, they this a possible Eastern Conference Finals threat right here, depending on where they fall.
Wait, who?
They look great because the Boston Celtics. I mean, they're starting to look again like they did when they that first time around when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then again when they lost to Miami.
I wouldn't put them up there as Eastern Conference finalist team. I think they're playing better, and that team has talent on it. And even earlier in the year, you kind of wonder why they were struggling and things like that. But first year head coach, I think they dealt with a couple injuries. So, and then Jason Tatum got off to a real slow start. So they're playing better as of now, but I still want to put them over the Heat, the Bucks. I still think it could depend on how matchups fall. It could be a long shot for them to even get out the first round. But they're playing better, and that's good. And like I said, they have the talent, but I think other teams right now probably just have a little more talent.
I'm with man. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. The other thing I wanted to get into was you just brought up the Miami Heat and Victor Oladipo is set to return. I believe the Miami media is saying they believe he will start playing again in about a month, or probably by the end of this month, because we are just starting March now. I mean, the Miami Heat, they just, doing Miami Heat things. They look super solid. I think it was Kendrick Perkins the other day that came out, said he still has them as the favorites to come out of the East. They just, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, they just completely embarrassed the Chicago Bulls. Also the Knicks. And we're going to talk about the Knicks later, but Victor Oladipo was brought in to be a starter on this team. I mean, he looked good before the injury. He was a starter on his team, but like one thing I can say about Spo, man, when Spo doesn't like to when something good is going on and you have just been out, especially if you were like hot and then got hurt, if something good is going on, Spo is not gonna mess with his lineups. So Victor Oladipo, who's supposed to be a starter, where does he fit in this rotation?
Uh, I don't know. We like I said, he was maybe supposed to be a starter, but we don't know which Oladipo we're getting. He's still coming off an injury, and you think coming off an injury, has he played this season? I don't think he played once this season,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah, coming off the team is one of the top teams in the East. He's coming off an injury, so you're gonna try to bring him along slow. And with that being said, he probably won't be full strength until playoff time. So at this point, he's definitely coming off the bench for this year. You'll see maybe how next year goes and how the summer goes, but he'll definitely. I wouldn't mess with things at all for the rest of this year. Bring him off the bench, another puncher off the bench, and if he has some good games, you keep him out there for that good game. And if he's not playing that well one game, you kind of yank him. He's I don't even Tyler Hero's coming off there. I wouldn't even call him the six man.
Tyler Hero's still coming off the bench.
Yeah, I wouldn't even
I don't
call
know.
him.
That's what I'm saying. Where does he fit in that complete rotation? Because you got Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent's the backup point guard right now. He's solid for them. Caleb Martin, who's another guy coming off the bench for them, and has been like a steal for them. But that's Miami Heat basketball. Uh, Duncan Robinson is their starting two guard. You got Tyler Hero, who's their sixth man. He's definitely got to find a place in there. There's a lot. Even I believe Dwayne Dedman is coming off the bench as well. Like and PJ Tucker's over there. So how does he fit in?
That's honestly a good question that Sun Spo's gonna have to figure out. Obviously, like I said, we know the talent that he could be, and if you can get back to there before the end of the season, he's definitely worth playing. But it's gonna be a bench position.
I'm with you on that. I am with you on that. Goran Dragic, after being bought out by who did he get traded to again?
I think the Spurs let him go.
Yeah, must brain fart. The Spurs. He was waived by the Spurs, bought contract buyout from the San Antonio Spurs, signed with the Brooklyn Nets, which is interesting because what was it last season or 2 seasons ago? Him and Ben Simmons got into it a little bit during the game, and now they're teammates. So, I saw what you said on Twitter. My whole thing is positionless basketball. Number one, number two, he is he's got a hell of a resume, especially in the playoffs. I think he was absolutely missed in that NBA Finals the games he didn't get to play for Miami there. And I mean, he's a scorer. Like in the Brooklyn Nets already showed us since last year, they're not afraid to add more firepower on this team. And like you just said with the Miami Heat, they're gonna find a way to put him in there somehow.
Yeah, definitely. The good thing for Dragic is just that he's a little taller point guard, so you can probably, especially against certain matchups, you can maybe push him to the two, maybe the three, and that's even maybe just for guarding people and still have the ball in his hand. So I like it, like you said, positionless basketball, and the fact that he's a little taller lets him be a little more versatile because the guys like Seth Curry, Kyrie Irving, uh, Patty Mills, those guys are small. So the add and those guys are mostly shooters. So him being a little taller, more of a point guard, you can put him in different positions. Just the fact that he's a couple taller. But that at first when I saw it, I'm like another point guard. They don't need another point guard. They already got a lot of small guards. But Dragic is a little taller, which should help him.
The other news, and you definitely got to take lead on this one because you over there. You definitely we got insider stuff right here, man. Flex bombs. Markel Fultz returns from the ACL tear for the Orlando Magic in 16 minutes. First game back, 10 points, 6 assists, 5 for 7 from the field. Last time we saw Markel Fultz play for the Orlando Magic, they were a playoff team. I'm still very curious to know who, because he's definitely one of your starting guards on his team for sure. And I mean, I've always said it. I guess he just needed to get out of Philly, but he's showing us that he was I'm not gonna say he's living up to number one pick expectations, but I'm not gonna kill him for like it's not one of those things, you know what I mean? Like one of those things where he didn't do nothing as a number one pick. Like he's a solid option for this Orlando team. The last time we saw him playing for them, they were a postseason team. What are the expectations for him moving forward? Looks like they're just gonna kind of ease him in. And I guess this is the question I've had since they drafted Jalen Suggs. Who's starting opposite him in there? Because it is crowded in that backcourt.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think they're not going to worry about it for the rest of the season. You kind of bring him along slowly each game, maybe add on a few more minutes and see how it goes. They've dealt with some injuries to the guard spot. Jalen Suggs has missed some time. Cole Anthony has missed some time, so it may be fluid. I think obviously Markel is probably the starting guard, like you said, and then from there you kind of let those guys battle it out during the summer. Like I said, you don't worry about it maybe for the rest of this year. Let those guys battle it out in the summer, and then whichever two guards play better alongside each other. I think those are the two starts. If I had to choose right now, it's either coach has shown us this year that he likes to play a three guard lineup and he doesn't mind playing a three guard lineup. So you figure Markel being a 6'5", Jalen Suggs I believe is 6'5", and then
Cole
Cole
Anthony's
Anthony
a little smaller.
Cole Anthony's a little smaller, so he's 6'3". So but uh folks has got some size on him, so you can really push him to the three. Like I said, in certain lineups, you can push him to the three, and then you go from there. Cole Anthony would be more of the scorer person. Folks would be running your offense and things like that, and it sucks to be a defender. So if I had to choose right now, I think Cole Anthony comes off the bench. Just the way his game is, it's a little streaky sometimes. He can get hot for a little bit. He can get cold for a little bit, and he's more of a scorer. You think Suggs alongside Jalen. I mean, Suggs alongside folks. Folks would be your starting guard. Suggs right there for defense at the two, and then you have Cole Anthony come in with the second unit and just score. Don't worry about nothing but scoring. Don't worry about running the offense. And we've seen a lot of six men like that just come in and just all you worry about is scoring.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I really like what Orlando's been putting together. I mean, you got Franz Wagner, who we've talked about in the past, is in big conversation, do some big time stuff for Orlando. You got Markel, who's living up to what you would expect for him when you traded for him. I mean, Cole Anthony's been solid. Jalen Suggs, he's missed some time, like you said, but he's done some good things for him. I think that Orlando's on a surge, and I can't. The last time I really had like high hopes for the Orlando Magic, I think was when Dwight was there. No,
Yeah, I mean, they had a couple of playoff runs a few years back, but the White was the last time that they were really a contender. And this team is gonna take a lot of time before they're a contender, but they have talent. Obviously, if Ji comes back, and when he does come back, that'd be good. You mix some talent in there.
You forget about Jonathan Isaac and Mo Bamba's over there.
Yeah, they you add some veterans with some talent. I think coach is going to have an issue to figure out who's going to play and what the lineups are and things like that. You figure Ji maybe has to start. Folks has to start. You still got Wendell Carter Jr. You got Mo. You got the other guards we just talked about. You have a top pick, so they have talent. I think once everyone gets healthy, you have a nice combination between young players, veterans. Try to bring a couple more veterans in, and then coach. It's up to coach to kind of figure out which lineups work together. And to me, it's gonna whoever can play best together will be the starters, and then you go from there.
Yeah, man, but man, I'm not even man. Orlando's got talent. You're talking about a bunch of high lottery picks on that team. Man, Orlando's got talent. I wouldn't expect that all of them are there for the promised land, but man, that's a lot of young talent over there. Promising young talent for sure. The other thing that I think we need to have a big time conversation on, it's been on our minds all season. Kyrie Irving, the Brooklyn Nets, the whole vaccine mandate situation, can't play home games, plays on the road. So the mayor of New York City came out today, or not today, but came out today. Man, why am I saying that? I'm getting tongue twisted. Came out and said that the vaccine mandate will be lifted. However, that does not mean that Kyrie Irving will be able to play at home games. He will be able to come to the Barclays Center as a spectator now, but he still cannot play home games unless he is vaccinated. I'm not sure. Well, no, we did have this conversation way before this was talked about. The restrictions were talked about being lifted. It's even it doesn't make it makes even less sense now than it did before, and it didn't make sense before, which is why Commissioner Adam Silver took a shot at the whole thing, because if you're an away player that's unvaccinated, you can come to Madison Square Garden or the Barclays Center and you can play. But if you play for the Knicks or the Nets and you're unvaccinated, you cannot play. Now the vaccine mandate is lifted. And if you are unvaccinated, coming in as a guest player, you can still play. But it seems that it's the same case, not vaccinated, you can't play. The mayor's explanation, we have rules in place and it wouldn't be fair to other New York City employees who can't come in because they're not vaccinated. Mr. Mayor, I got to ask you, is the NBA your regular typical job? I think not. Number one. Number two, you're getting in the way of a championship here. Do you want to be that guy? I wouldn't want to be that guy. I'm just saying, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But please make it make sense, because your explanation was not a good one.
I don't get his explanation because I don't think people are asking him just to let Kyrie play. I think people are asking for it to be lifted in general for everybody. So I don't see how he brought up that he's not just doing it for Kyrie. People aren't just asking you to do it for Kyrie. People are asking you to do it for everybody.
But if I'm not going to say whether I agree or disagree with what's going on. But if it was a case of nobody can play if they're unvaccinated, all right, you got an argument there, because now, no, if you're unvaccinated, you cannot play here, whether you're on the home team or the visiting team. But the visiting team still has unvaccinated players that are coming in and playing. Like, it just makes zero sense. And it just looks worse now than it did before, because you're lifting the mandate with the same rules. Well, not even worse. So he can come in the building, but he can't play.
Right. I seen a little screenshot where it's like he basically can be on the bench, but he can't step on the court, which doesn't make any sense. But the thing with me with this is that this has been here, so I don't know how this just got to people's attention. I guess when Adam Silver said something about it, sure, but I brought this up earlier in the season that the rule didn't make any sense about how people can come in, like Bradley Beal can come in and play and have no issue. I'm confused on how people are just picking up on this now.
But I just think like it needs to be a bigger conversation. It wouldn't be a big deal if nobody could play, because the rule in place is that you want to protect the people that are in the building, but you can't be protecting the people that are in the building if unvaccinated people are still allowed in the building.
Exactly. And it does. What really doesn't make sense is that there's people traveling to come here, and then they can play, which seems pretty unsafe because you can go wherever. I think I don't know. Actually, don't quote me on this, but I think at one point they saying like travel was like some the biggest spread of COVID. So you're allowing people to travel and then come in your arena, which is highly likely that they could spread it. But if I had been here at my house all week, I can't play. It just doesn't make any sense.
None at all. None at all. I guess if this is going to drag out a lot more over the coming weeks, it's definitely not done. If I had to predict, though, I'm gonna. I want to say I would bet that eventually he'll start being able to play home. Like I think when the postseason comes around and we're like 2 or 3 months away, I think he'll be able to play home games. So they will come to some resolution and he'll be able to play home games because this is just ridiculous.
Also, I think like because he just became mayor, and then you lift this. I think a lot of people are kind of pointing. And I see people point out to the fact that he's real close with like the Nets owner or someone in the Nets
I
organization.
didn't know that.
So I think Jay Williams has said that like on ESPN. So a lot of people are thinking like, oh, you just became mayor, and you're only doing this for Kyrie, which is why I think he made the Kyrie comment. And I think that's kind of why now he's pushing back on it a little bit because it's like people are getting on him like, oh, you basically only did this so Kyrie can play.
Yeah. No, I mean it wouldn't be all that bad. Like you gonna kill the mayor for that? Like what? But New York is a sports city. New York is a sports city. And the last time there was a championship, well, actually, the soccer team I heard won a championship, but disregarding that, the last time there was a big time championship in New York City, I was 18 years old. No, yeah, I was 18 years old. I was 18 years old. That was 10 years ago. So I mean, like the Nets have a real shot. You're gonna be the man. I'm gonna end it the way I started it. Do you want to be that guy that gets in the way of that?
I don't know. This whole thing is has been a mission. Let's see how it ends up turning out because there's a lot more stuff on the other side we can get into too. But it is what it is.
We'll definitely dive deeper into it as more stuff comes out and what they could possibly do or lack of doing. But nonetheless, one of our favorite topics on this show. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go! Say go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go! Love it, love it. So the Knicks are struggling, Kay. I think it's an understatement at this point. And I'm not going to be the one to say it's my fault because it's not my fault. The Knicks have a history of this. So if you want to say you guys jinxed us because you said that we were back, no. You guys have a history of this stuff. So you fooled us. You fooled us all. And it's all right. Kemba Walker, who they had recently signed to, I believe, was basically a vet minimum, will be sidelined for the rest of the season. A mutual agreement between him and the organization. I've actually heard that he was playing through a lot of discomfort with that knee, but just don't. It seems like him and Tibbs just don't mesh, and he's like, well, if I'm just gonna be benched, I might just stay away from the organization altogether. I still maintain that Kemba is a solid piece in this league, and like we've seen from a lot of players that leave the Knicks and go somewhere else, they usually up their game once they're out of there. I know the biggest thing with Knicks fans since that news came out, the other thing was Derrick Rose isn't expected to be back anytime soon. He just got surgery done on that ankle because it was some type of infection going on from the original issue that he had there. So he'll be sidelined longer than expected. Still waiting on news to see exactly how long. But the biggest thing here is you got a young guy, Quentin Grimes, who the fan base loves tremendously. You got Emmanuel Quickly, who's shown a ton of promise. And Tibbs just is insistent on sticking with Alec Burks at point guard. Alec Burks is a fine player, but I have to agree with a lot of the Knicks fan base on this one. I don't understand why you continue to go to him as your point guard, especially in a season that seems lost at this point. When you have Tibbs is a guy that is all in on defense. Quentin Grimes does play defense. You know, you want to see what you have in him. I don't understand why he's not getting more run, but it is what it is. That's not even the biggest thing that I wanted to get into. Here's what I wanted to get into, and this is a culmination of what we kind of talked about with the Knicks the last few times we brought them up on this show. Knicks fans should be ecstatic. Knicks fans and Memphis Grizzlies fans should be ecstatic that they didn't end up with the number 1 pick. New Orleans Pelicans fans are not here screaming that they have Zion Williamson. Trust me. Why? Because he hasn't played. And I'm going to say it again. Zion Williamson's career, and I hope it doesn't happen, but the numbers are there. In this amount of time that he's been in the league, if you look at the same amount of time that Greg Oden was in the league, the same amount of time for both, he's played just as many games. His numbers, I believe, are about the same. Because Greg Oden wasn't a bust because of talent. Greg Oden just had a ton of issues that he just couldn't stay on the court. You know, then that's ultimately what ended his career. But he wasn't a bust because of talent or lack of talent. That's kind of what we have with Zion Williamson. And I've seen some people like how the fan base is just kind of all up like, okay, we got Cam Reddish. But that's the other thing, too. They're barely giving Cam Reddish run. And there's a huge disconnect between coach and front office. So what did you trade for this guy for, right? The talk of trying to get Zion to New York needs to stop. You want to look, let's look at the history of the New York Knicks when y'all bring in one of these types of guys. A guy that was like this star, but it deals with all these injuries and whatnot. It hasn't really worked out for you. And you guys it's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So the Knicks are trying to go big game hunting again. And for some reason, the organization and the fan base think that the results are going to be different this time. Please show me in your track record why that would happen. If I'm the New York Knicks, I don't want to. I'm not touching Zion Williamson unless he shows me like that he can stay healthy. Look, everybody want the big argument. I'm ranting here a little bit. The big argument for Knicks fans when it comes to Zion is, oh, he wouldn't have gained all that weight. He's in New Orleans. That's why he gained all that weight. Look, if you gaining all that weight as a professional athlete shows is a big red flag because that shows a tremendous lack of discipline. Number one. You know, so I don't understand that. Like, I'm not clamoring to have a guy like that on my team. If you already show issues that you can't even be disciplined enough to be able to perform when you need to, and then the best ability is availability, and that was my biggest thing for him coming out the draft. It was never talent. I was always cautioned with him just because we seen it throughout his time at Duke. In that one season, he was getting hurt a lot. And you know, obviously you don't want that to happen, but that's been the case with him the entire time he's been in the league. The other thing is he has been a great teammate. I know CJ McCollum came out and said, let's lay off on him a little bit, but you as the franchise guy not reaching out to a former all-star that just got traded to your team, it's a bad look. And JJ Redick came out and said he was a very disattached teammate, which also a bad look. But the biggest thing that I want to get into, because even though I don't live in New York no more, I'm still very connected to the New York media and the pulse that they have over there, is this whole thing about star chasing, and they need a star. They need box office. I went off a bunch of the rundown wasn't a thing at the time, but I went off a bunch of years ago when Stephen A was saying this, and I'm gonna do it again. Because this thing about chasing stars because this New York needs to stop. You know what's box office, ladies and gentlemen? Winning. Winning is box office. I will take winning over a face of the league any day. Because I already saw this in New York. You guys had a star. His name was Carmelo Anthony. He never won. So you can go and try and get Zion Williamson, and if you're trading for him, have to give up a bunch of assets to get him, and then be stuck with, all right, we got this guy who's a star talent. He's on all these commercials and whatnot. It's New York, but you're not winning anything. Now, RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to a lot of different places, but I'm really passionate about this conversation because it's just been annoying me. RJ Barrett is quickly becoming the face of the New York Knicks. If I'm the New York Knicks, I'm putting all of my chips in on this kid. And I saw an argument today that says he needs to stop trying to play more like Bradley Beal and start playing more like Jimmy Butler, because that's when he has these big time games. Because most of these games when he's scoring north of 30 or close to 30 a night, he's getting to the free throw line a ton. He's quickly becoming one of the best two-way players in the league, and he's showing you that he can score the ball. I would be all in on building this team around RJ Barrett, and I would quickly look to move on from Julius Randle because that's not working, number one. And if you keep Julius Randle there long enough, it stunts the growth of a guy like RJ Barrett. Now I'm done.
I mean, the thing with Zion is that, and I can see why some fans will still want him, it's because even after, like, maybe sometime during his first season, there's been talked about him wanting to request a trade and wanting to get out of there. So he's never really wanted to be there either. And you can chop that up as that's why maybe he's been hurt so much or why he gained weight and stuff like that because he doesn't want to be there. But I think, to New York's credit, I think you still take a chance on that guy because you're somewhere he wanted to be. If you look at James Harden, he didn't want to be in Brooklyn. He didn't want to be in Houston. People keep saying he took off like a fat suit. So if you get the person where they want to be and they're happy, I think you still can maybe get the best out of them. As far as going star hunting, I mean, yeah, but has good building through the draft really worked for them either? I guess that they haven't tried it as much, but as I think the Knicks' problem is not hunting after stars. Their problem is putting a team together properly. So no matter if you're doing it through the draft, if you're hunting stars, I think the result is still the same because you just don't know how to put a team together properly. They had Carmelo Anthony, they had that one good year, but after that, it's just yeah. You could say three. I think they were in the playoffs for three. The second half of the season he got there, they went to the playoffs next year. I think they played Boston. No, they played Boston the first year, got swept. They played Miami the second year. Then they had the good year. So you can say maybe three. But I think their problem is putting a proper team around, building a team. I think that the problem is building a good team. So I think I would take a chance to get him over there. Now you got Cam Reddish, you got RJ, you got the guys he went to college with. We're a place that we know he wanted to go. And I get what you're saying about how it's a bad look on him. But when you're a talent like that, we just seen it with Ben, we've seen it with Harden. People are still going to take a chance on you if they believe that you are where that the person wants to be.
Well, in the case of Ben Simmons and James Harden, where they ended up, they don't have the track record that the Knicks do. It's just never like it's like they're cursed, you know. And people get mad when I say this, but it's true. The New York Knicks are the NBA's version of the Dallas Cowboys. The fan bases are close to identical. The organizations kind of operate the same way. It's like we're in these major markets and we have this history of success. So even though we haven't done anything in 20, 30 years, you should still believe that we should, even though we're not giving you a reason to. And it's just like it's this never ending cycle. So you're gonna go after Zion Williamson. It's like, all right, we're doing this all over again. And there's no reason to say that he's just not going to keep getting hurt because all we've known him getting hurt has nothing to do with him wanting to be in New Orleans or not. He's
But
just injury prone at this point. We're in year 3, right?
how true are those injuries? Maybe he could have been back, but he just doesn't want to be here.
If those because the Pelicans the Pelicans have been very careful with him. So there's it's no reason for me to believe that those aren't solid injuries. And the other thing that I have a problem with people saying, "Oh, he never wanted to be there anyway." You act like you're on this like terrible team with nothing around you. They already show that they're invested in building a contender around you. You're playing with Brandon Ingram,
I
one of the top tier. Hmm?
I get that point. That never made sense to me. I've never seen a rookie try to force his way out. Usually, when you get drafted, you know you're stuck on that team at least through your rookie contract and then the extension when you're a restricted free agent. You know you
But
can't probably move for like 7 years. So to see someone that early try to force their way out is like the first time I've ever seen that.
But is he though? Like that? This is just such a confusing situation to me because I would understand it, and I still don't know if he's actually forcing his way out. But I would understand you not being happy there if you were just in a bad situation, like a really bad situation. But you have pieces around you, like you and Brandon Ingram can be a force together. Brandon Ingram is one of the top tier young talents in this league. He was just an all star. And then they just traded for CJ McCollum. Like they're showing you that they're invested in this thing. What are you gonna do with it? Because at the end of the day, you are even if you want to get out, you're still auditioning for these teams. And as a guy on a rookie contract, you don't have a resume for teams to go by to say, all right, he's going through this right now, but we've seen him do this and this in years past. You're on a rookie deal. You have no resume for me to say I'm gonna still trade for you. Like you are if you want to get out, you're auditioning, and it's not going well.
And that, yeah, it's just like what I said. I've never seen someone on their rookie contract try to do something like that. It just does not work this way. And at the end of the day, going into the draft, you know that you're probably gonna go to a team that is not good. So like even if the team was a terrible situation, you got to give it a few years before you really fill it out. How many look at Devin Booker and them? They were terrible. They were one of the worst teams in the league for years. He still, you feel you got to stick it out because you're on your rookie contract. That's just how it goes. You know you're not going to a good team. So this whole situation is a little confusing to me. But I mean, I guess you can say you didn't want to be there, but that's a lot of people, and you just got to suck it up and play through it. That's why I said I've never seen a rookie like this try to force their way out.
It's weird. It's completely weird and more stuff I would like to know. Love to see if we can get a New Orleans beat writer on here to talk about this stuff. We'll definitely try because I don't know. Y'all must have forgot we used to be in our bag with this stuff. We can get back to it. What's your take on the earlier points when it comes to RJ Barrett, his growth with the New York Knicks as a player, what he's been doing, and what I said about how they should move on from Julius Randle in order to keep RJ growing.
I don't think you necessarily have to move on from Julius Randle for RJ's sake. I think you move on from Julius Randle for the fact that he doesn't look like that same player who's working towards a contract. He looks like a player who got his contract now, and he's kind of just going. He has some frustrations, but he's just not playing as well as he did last year. So I think you possibly move on him for that. I don't think he's really stunting RJ's growth too much, at least right now. Because even if you move him, depending on what you move him for, you're now moving RJ to the number one option. I mean, Julius Randle's not playing well, but he's kind of still their number one option. That's a different thing. I mean, and
You
eventually,
don't think
eventually
RJ
that's
Barrett RJ Barrett had what 41 again or 41 or 42 against my he completely put the New York Knicks on his back. We've all seen plenty of moments this season where Jules is just doing a little too much when he should probably be kicking it out to other teammates, especially with the way RJ Barrett's been playing this season.
yeah. But I was about to say eventually you figure RJ is your number one option, but right now the season's kind of a wash. You don't have to maybe rush into it as soon. I guess the trade deadline's over, so you can't trade him to the summer anyway. So you gotta maybe see how the rest of it plays out. But I think you trade Julius Randle for the fact that you gave him all this money. It looked like it's not panning out. I think RJ will be fine regardless. I don't think he's stunting RJ. Like you said, RJ had 41 the other day. He had that big game against the Lakers. RJ's still getting his, so he's not stopping RJ too much. Now, if they both played the same position, maybe you figure you gotta get him out the way, let him shine. But since RJ's on the wing and Julius Randle is like a forward, it's kind of different. So I don't think he's stopping him too much because if you say Randle's not there, RJ got 40 the other day. What do you think? Maybe he gets 50. I think you know what I mean. He's not stopping him too much, but you get rid of him just because you cleared a way for RJ to now be the number one option, and you clear money so you can build around RJ. I think that's where maybe he's stopping RJ, sucking up that money. You get rid of him so you can start building around RJ.
I think that this is definitely something that we'll have to tap into again. Knicks fans ain't show out for this one. I'm disappointed in y'all. The other big news that actually just came out, I want to say yesterday, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are expected to be back for the Denver Nuggets come postseason. I personally don't think that this is a big deal, and some people might look at me saying that and think I'm crazy, but I just want you to hear me out. These guys have been out. Jamal Murray's been out all year. Michael Porter Jr. has been out most of the year with a back injury, which is the reason he ended up in Denver, because people didn't want to take a chance on a guy with a bad back. If these guys are coming in for the postseason, a crucial time, and this is their first time playing, you can't really throw them out there like that because they're not going to have their legs under them. So how vital are they going to be to your championship hopes when they're just getting back into the thick of things? It's like you're bringing them back at the worst times.
Possibly, but you figure, like you said, it's not a big deal, but in a sense, it's a big deal. It's not a big deal because it's not changing their season this year, but it's a big deal to get those guys back out there healthy, and they may win you an extra game or two in the playoffs. And I think that's kind of what they're going for. I don't think they're putting those guys back out there saying like, we need to make another Western Conference Finals run. I think it's you're healthy. If you guys want to go out there and play, go play. You win this extra game or two or something in the playoffs. Great. Maybe we steal a series. Great. But I don't think they're expecting like, oh, this is a championship run now. But you got your legs under you a little bit. We get ready for next season. You're 100% healthy. But this season's gonna turn out the same way if you guys play or not, basically. So if you guys want to come out here and win us an extra game, maybe two games, then cool. But we know we're probably out in the first round anyway. So we're not gonna put all that pressure on you guys. This is just get your legs under you and get ready for next season.
Hear that? Definitely hear that. I guess another thing that we had on the docket for tonight was awards coming out the break. Awards coming out the break. So we got Six Man of the Year, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, so on, and Coach of the Year, so on and so forth. I guess we can go back and forth on this. What do you want to start with?
Uh, I'm not sure. Whatever you want to start with.
We'll go with the big one first, MVP. I think the obvious candidates for MVP so far this season are DeMar DeRozan, John Morant, LeBron James. I don't know, maybe you could throw one or two other people in there, but I feel like those are the three front runners for sure. And
I think Embiid's over LeBron. The Lakers are not playing good enough.
Well, that I was gonna get it. I was gonna get into it because LeBron is. I feel like Embiid's playing super well. Embiid would have won MVP last year if he never got hurt. Like he was playing fantastic, and then he just started missing too many games for them to give him that award. I feel like how even though he's playing extremely well now, it's just not to the level that it was a year ago. And I'm not. I've said I thought LeBron should win MVP because of what he's doing this year. You know, the fact that he's 37 years old. He's got a lot of miles on those tires, and he's averaging with 28, 29. That's unheard of at this stage in someone's career. But the Lakers are struggling a ton, and that plays a huge factor in whether you win an MVP or not. We've seen it's one of the reasons why James Harden doesn't have more MVPs. I think DeMar DeRozan is like running away with this thing right now. It like he's going lights out. I don't think anybody saw this from him. I mean, he was a lottery pick for a reason for the Toronto Raptors, and this is probably what they were hoping from him. But this guy is doing stuff for the Chicago Bulls that is just amazing. Like he's been on a crazy tear. I don't know what he's unlocked. I also want to say I think he would be playing well and would probably be a little more efficient for the Lakers, but he wouldn't be. He's kind of like the number one option or a 1A 1B option for the Bulls. He wouldn't have been that with the Lakers. So he's not an MVP candidate if he's playing for the Lakers. But back to what I was saying. I think DeMar DeRozan's like running away with this thing right now. It's not even close.
No, I think it's still close, and LeBron and the Lakers aren't playing good enough for him to get in. He's playing well enough, but the Lakers aren't playing that good. I think it's Embiid, Ja, and DeRozan, and from there it's kind of who you like more. Honestly, for between Embiid and I think what's going to hurt Embiid right now is Harden coming on along. I think Embiid was playing out of his mind, and you think about you brought up last year. I think he's playing better. He's playing maybe the same or better with less because last year he had Ben, so he doesn't have Ben this year. It started off bad, and then he kind of just went crazy. So he's doing maybe more with less. I think between him and DeRozan, obviously everything for what you said with DeRozan is why he's up there as the MVP candidate, hitting game winners, leading the Bulls even when a couple of those guys were down. Between them two is going to be who finishes off with the better record. And I think DeRozan may run away from Embiid right now, like I said, because with Harden coming there, and it looks like he's going to play well, and he looks like the old Harden, Embiid's numbers will come down a little bit. They'll come back down to earth a little bit. And then when voters look at it, it's going to be like, okay, he has help. You know what I mean? Like if he would have finished off the season how it was, and like, okay, Embiid is, like I said, doing the same or more with less MVP type of season. So I think DeRozan will end up taking him, and then from there, I think it's between Ja and DeRozan. They went up against each other the other day. I think Ja had like 43. Ja's like Ja's putting up the numbers. The Grizzlies are playing great. Nobody expected that, and the Rosen's been doing crazy stuff too, but Ja's more of a box office sell, and sometimes that can sway the media's mind. So I think just coming down the stretch, who's ever playing better out of those two, and I'm not gonna say it depends on the record because it's two separate conferences at the time. Whoever's playing better between those two guys, and maybe how their team finishes. I think both teams right now are gonna finish a top three seed. So from there, it's whoever the voters like more, honestly.
Did you see that thing with Embiid? Little off topic when he was post game when he was talking about his first game with James. He was just like, that's the most open I've ever been in my life. I felt like that was a little shot at Ben.
I mean, yeah, but I can see how it's true. Ben can't shoot on those pick and rolls. I'm pretty sure teams are switching it or doing whatever. They're going under it. That's not getting him beat open too much. Harden can shoot. People are worried about Harden. You have to figure out that pick and roll where it could leave and be more open on a pick and roll than it would with Ben, just because Ben can't shoot.
That's also another topic too. I probably should have thrown in there. That Tobias is struggling playing with Harden. Some people are a little surprised because they would expect him to be going back to a third option to be able to thrive there, but him playing with Harden as his point guard compared to Ben as his point guard, he definitely needs some time to get used to that. And it seems like he's the only one who needs the time because everybody else is playing fine except him.
Yeah, I think it's still early. They only played like one or two games together. I think it's too early to tell. He's a player who may have one, two, maybe three, four bad games in a row. If Ben
Yeah,
Simmons was his point guard, no matter who his point guard is, he just
yeah, but that debut with Harden, he struggled like mightily.
he was also home in New York, so there's that too. So shout out to Tobias.
Hey, I seen him once at the main event in Farmingdale. Dude, I need to know like what tax bracket you got to be into to like not buy socks. like that's I guess you getting a different type of money because this dude was walking around that joint with no socks on.
Depends on the shoes. I've seen a lot of people wear certain shoes with no socks, especially if it's
Hey man, I didn't come up that way. I feel like you throw your bare feet in shoes like it's not gonna come. It's gonna be a little funky once you take them things out.
it can't be every shoe, but there's like one or two shoes I know people not wearing socks
What the boat joints, the boat shoes,
with. Nah, they're like dress shoes.
like
I
low
don't know.
Ferragamo loafers.
Yeah,
He ain't have those on. He ain't have those on.
yeah. Nah, that's the only time I've seen it happen.
Um, so MVP, rookie of the year, I think like the overwhelming favorite is Evan Mobley. Like he's a big part in the reason why the Cavs are having the success that they're having. I'm gonna hold out though. I still believe that when it's all said and done, that my man's up in Detroit is gonna win that thing. Like he's quickly since he came back from his sideline and because of his injury has quickly rose up in the ranks. I mean, I think still at this point, like you gotta have Evan Mobley as the overwhelming favorite because he's had more time. But I don't know. I still think he might win that.
Yeah, like you said, Evan Mobley's been playing well all season. He's a big reason why the Cavs are winning. So Evan Mobley's probably it right now. I think Cade has been coming on strong late. He's been putting up big numbers. Detroit's been winning more. Obviously, he was hurt. He came back from the injury. He kind of started off slow. People thought he couldn't shoot. So he'll make a run for it. Those are the two right now. Franz fell off because he hasn't been playing that well. Also Scotty, you can't forget it. Yeah, you can't forget about Scotty too. But Scotty sometimes he'll have a big game like against the Nets, and then have another game where it's like
He's young.
it's not that he doesn't have big games, but he's one of those like he'll have a game where it's like 7-7 and 7, which is still a decent game, but it is what it is. So I think it's done three right now. I think what's hurting Scotty is that those numbers, like I said, sometimes they'll have a
Not
couple games
consistent.
that's not as great. I think it's still consistent because he wasn't even supposed to be like a scorer coming in. I think that scoring just came out of nowhere. That's just who he is. He's gonna be one of those guys who he's gonna fill the stat sheet for you. But that's not the sexy pick. Evan Mobley and them, they've been winning more, so that's kind of the sexy pick. And I think what's gonna hurt Cade is the time he missed and then starting off slow after he did come back.
Right. Man, the Toronto Raptors are a team too to like look at. Like they got a hell of a core. When you look at Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby still there, Fred Van Vliet, who's just a big part of All Star Weekend, and you got Scotty Barnes over too. Like Masai Ujiri is even they weren't able to keep Kawhi. They move on from Kyle Lowry, who was a franchise corner piece for them, and they quickly get back to getting the core again.
Yeah, it's most of those same guys. You really only lost Kyle Lowry and
But they really did like Fred Van Vliet when they won the championship was a solid player for them. Like he's really a corner piece for them right now. Like they've done a tremendous job of developing talent over there. Like
yeah, they
OG and Pascal Siakam kind of came in together and they like especially when they went on that championship run, everybody was talking about Pascal Siakam. I think I was one of the few people saying, don't forget about OG Anunoby. He's just not playing right now because he's hurt.
yeah, they kept their young talent. So the if you think about that championship roster, they kept their young talent from there, added some more, and now those young talent are kind of more veterans. So that's kind of how you're supposed to do it, especially because they wasn't going to keep Kawhi no matter what.
Take notes, Knicks. This is how you build a team. Um, I have an issue with defensive player of the year. I see Draymond Green is kind of an overwhelming favorite, but if Embiid couldn't win MVP because he missed a ton of games, why should Draymond Green win defensive player of the year?
Yeah, I think Draymond Green was the overwhelming favorite, but he missed so much time. I think even the time that he missed showed why he was the defensive player of the year, but the time missed has just been too much at this time. So unfortunately, we'll probably see Rudy Gobert get it again.
Yeah, and
I don't,
he shouldn't have won it last year. Sure.
I don't think he should have
By the
won
way,
it
I
last
think
year.
Draymond Green out here talking nonsense, bro. Do you agree? You agree with what he's saying? Like, I'm not. He's not the greatest defensive player in NBA history.
No, but that's Draymond for you. I'm not surprised to say.
Six man of the year. I got Tyler. It's no bias on this side. I got Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is coming off that bench, lighting it up. Like I ain't no competition. I don't care about no Jordan Clarkson. None of that. Tyler Hero all the way.
Yeah, I don't think there's really no competition. I don't see anyone else that's coming off the bench really scoring too crazy right now. So I think it's kind of Tyler Heroes to run away with. I'm not sure how many games he started this year, and if that may hurt him. But I think overall, there's like no one else that close. If they don't knock him for all the couple starts that he had, he's averaging 20 off the bench. I think that's a no brainer.
Yeah. Um, Most improved. So like this could go a couple different ways. You know, I've seen Darius Garland again, just like Evan Mobley, a big piece in why the Cavs are doing what they're doing. I've seen Jordan Poole. That's also a good pick. But then I've seen Desmond Bain. I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe it's a little bit of ignorance. I didn't even know who Desmond Bain was coming into this season, and he's been very, very solid for the Memphis Grizzlies. I wouldn't be mad at all if Desmond Bain won Most Improved.
You know what's crazy? You put Job there for MVP. You could possibly put Job there most improved too.
They wouldn't do like they should, but they should do that, but they won't.
Yeah, nah.
But they definitely should.
Desmond Bain, yes, I agree with you. I think it's between him and Darius Garland. Honestly, Darius Garland went from a solid player last year to an all star, and Desmond Bain went from like a nobody to one of the best shooters in the league. So it's definitely between those two. I may have to look at the numbers a little more. I'm not sure how much because I'm pretty sure Garland played well last year. I'm not sure how big of a jump his was. Could be just that the Cavs are playing a lot better. So to me, I have to look at the numbers a little bit. But it's between those two. Right now, I might have to go Garland because he was an all star.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't want to factor him being an all star into why he should win Most Improved. Like I didn't even know who this dude was. Like I think that's huge. Man, did you? Is it just me being ignorant?
No, I didn't know who he was.
That's a big
I
deal.
think I think he missed some time last year too, though. So that's part of the reason too. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Coach of the year, they actually have very well deserving candidates across the board. So you got Monty Williams, who I don't think will win. He should have won it last year, to be honest with you.
Who won it last year?
Tibbs.
Right.
You got Monty Williams. You got JB Bickerstaff, who I wouldn't be mad if he won it because Cleveland is killing it. Taylor Jenkins in Memphis, that's another one. You just talked earlier about how people didn't expect Memphis to be doing what they're doing, and that's a young team too. So I can give him credit for that because as when you got young guys like that, you do have to cultivate them and school them on how to be able to play this game as a pro the right way. So I wouldn't be mad at that. You got Spo. Hey, your man Billy Donovan should be a serious contender for this. Not saying that he should win it, but he should be a serious contender for this.
That's true.
And then also Meech's favorite coach, Doc Rivers.
I don't think Doc could get it.
I'm looking at the Vegas odds. And he's not a high favorite, but he is in it. I just felt like bringing it. Yo, Meech, if you in here, man, come pull up. I would love. Was he supposed to call in?
I don't remember.
Well, yeah, we would love for you to call in if you around. Come have we gotta have a coach of the year conversation.
I don't. I don't think Doc could get it.
Doc won't get it. Doc won't get it. Nor should he. I think Tyronn Lue is more deserving of coach of the year than Doc Rivers is.
Monty Williams might not get it, but I can see him getting it based off the fact that he should have got it last year, like a makeup coach of the year, because he deserves one. So I can see it as like a makeup coach of the year situation. Really, to me, it's between JB Bickerstaff and Taylor. What's his name? Taylor Jenkins from Memphis.
Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah, Taylor Jenkins from Memphis. I think it's close. I want to go Taylor Jenkins, but the fact that the Grizzlies did make the playoffs last year, And I think he deserves it because, like, yeah, he has Job, but Job missed what, like 10 games or something like that, and the Grizzlies were like 9-1 during that stretch. So like, they're winning even without some of
But
their
even
best players.
look at all the other guys that they have on that team. Like you're looking at a couple of these guys because it's all a young core. That's why people keep getting mad at me. But I'm like, yo, I'm not saying that they're those players. I'm just saying the similarities are there. You got a bunch of these young talents, couple lottery picks. It's eerily similar to what Oklahoma City did when they had it, it's not going to be the same because they're not going to have they didn't draft 3 MVPs back to back. That's not the case. I'm just saying like the young talent that's there, this core again. The whole argument that we had last time Mike was on about being able to build a championship contender from the draft, which they've been able to do when you really look at it.
Which is more the reason why he deserves
Yeah,
it. It's more of a point to why he should deserve it because they're a young core, and then you're missing your best player and sometimes your second best player, and still able to go out and win 9 out of 10. But I'm gonna go with JB Bickerstaff for the fact that the Cavs wasn't in the playoffs last year. I mean, you add Evan Mobley, but
a
no one.
lot. Cavs had the third overall pick last year, and now they're a real player in the East.
Yeah, you add Evan Mobley, but you didn't think it would be this big of a jump. You start off the season well, but you also lose uh Colin Sexton, so you have to switch your roster up and do different things. You're now winning a different way than you were winning to start the season, and you're still up there. So I would go with JB Bickerstaff because they came more out of nowhere. Memphis came out of nowhere to a top seed, but they made the playoffs last year. They played decent against the Jazz. The Jazz were just playing out of their mind last season. So the it was there for Memphis. Like if someone said, "Okay, Memphis would be a top 3 seed," like you'd be like, I can see that. If someone told you the Cavs are making the playoffs without LeBron in 2022, you would laugh at him. So I'm going JB Bickerstaff.
I think JB Bickerstaff's gonna end up winning it. Like just because this Cavs thing is like I think JB Bickerstaff. But I'm gonna say it, but I don't really want to say it because it's not the same. I actually think what the Cavs are doing this year is more impressive than what the Knicks did last year. But I think JB
I can see it.
Bickerstaff is gonna win it for the same reason that Tibbs won it last year. It's a tremendous turnaround and like it's a shocker.
I can see that. This is more of a young team than what the Knicks were last year. So I can see why you say that. But I'm going JB Bickerstaff. It's more impressive. Like I said, no one thought the Cavs would make the playoffs again until maybe Bronny got there.
You still, yeah, I don't know where Bronny's going to end up. But that LeBron over here starting a whole mess All Star weekend with the whole thing that he had to say, and they had to bring him down to earth and make him basically talk about that whole debacle. Do the Lakers get it together? Because yesterday was embarrassing for them,
No, they don't.
and Teron Lue came with the crazy disrespect before that.
No, they don't get it together. Also, I don't think Tyronn Lue, what he said is that disrespectful. Maybe if it was a playoff game, that's pretty disrespectful. But like during the regular season, a lot of teams will say that we're focusing on. They're not a great team either. So we got to focus on ourselves, not what other teams are doing. We got to focus on ourselves and we us getting better every day. Obviously, it's maybe slight disrespect because you have to game plan for people. But like during a regular season, when you got back to back games, a lot is going on. You may not plan as well as you want for a team. You may focus on ourselves. Like we're not gonna game plan for every team every night. We got to do what we're gonna do and try to go get a win.
So the Lakers on a playoff team in your eyes. Their fault because they're teetering of not even making the play-in.
With the play-in tournament, they're a playoff team. They're not getting out of the first round. Look at the teams
Yes,
that they're going. They're if they long as they end in that I think they're ending that play in. As long as they do that, is the Pelicans beating them 1 game? It's possible, but I'm taking LeBron. Is who else is above them? I don't know. The Clippers beat. I mean, the Clippers may give them a problem,
I think they'll probably lose to the Clippers.
but
So they got It's Minnesota, the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Pelicans. But Portland, who's been playing very well, is just right outside. They're
Yeah.
actually tied with the Pelicans.
I'm
But
only
the
I'm only worried about the Clippers. So they'll beat everybody besides the Clippers. And if they lose to the
you
Clippers,
wouldn't be worried about Portland with the way that they look right now?
absolutely not.
Really?
No, absolutely not. Now
If
let's if now let's Dame was there, I'll be worried about it. I have
he's
LeBron
gonna
James.
be there though. He's coming back.
Nah,
You know, Anthony Simmons gonna light them up.
I'm not. I have LeBron James. I'm not worried. I'm not
What,
worried.
what about the Spurs? What about because the Spurs are still
No,
in it too?
I'm only worried about the Clippers. I have LeBron James. I need to win
Oh,
one
and
game.
Minnesota. No.
No, I'm
Hey,
not worried
listen,
about Minnesota.
I'm so
I'm not worried
serious. I
about
would take Minnesota has one of the best offenses in the league right now.
That's cool.
I might take Minnesota.
That's cool. That's real cool. That's nice. I have LeBron James. I need to win one game. You think you think I'm worried about Carl Anthony Towns? Nah. Absolutely not. I have LeBron. I need to win one game. One game. I have
It's
LeBron
not.
James.
It's not just Carl Anthony Towns over there though. You
They
got the
got
rookie of the year and Anthony Edwards. You
That's
got
cool.
D'Angelo Russell.
Cool. I got LeBron James. I need to win one game. I got
You
LeBron. I need to win one game.
look. I love Russ, but he is also on that team. He's not the reason, but he is a reason.
I got LeBron James. I need to win one game. I don't care about the Timberwolves. I don't care about no one named Carl Anthony Towns, rookie of the year. I don't care about if Dame comes back and Dame is like Dame, then I'm scared of Portland. But even so, we might
Just
blitz. We may blitz him. Someone else is gonna have to beat us. I'm not worried about Portland.
I've seen Dame get blitzed, and I've seen him still hit game winners while he's
That's
getting blitzed.
that's cool. But I have LeBron James. Like, like the other team doesn't have LeBron James. Like I'm slightly worried about Portland if Dame comes back, and he's coming off injury. Only team I'm worried about is the Clippers because of Tyronn Lue, and they beat him twice this year, and it's close. Only team I'm worried about is the Clippers.
Portland might make me eat my words. I was so in on that blow it up thing, but if Dame, they still need to get another star. I don't know how they do it, but they might have bought themselves some time with Dame because they are playing amazing.
Like no. If I'm Dame, like you guys are playing great. That's not a championship roster.
What do you think about what he said about Anthony Simmons playing him possibly moving Anthony Simmons to the backcourt because he's just too good not to play less than 35 a game.
You're in the same situation you just said with CJ, and I don't even know if Anthony Simons would be better than CJ. You're right back. You're right back in the same situation. So,
all right, Kayson talking me back down to earth.
nah, and Simons is good, but you'll be in the same situation you just traded Adder with a younger team. That doesn't make any sense.
I hear that. I definitely hear that. I'm all in on the rebuild. I'm all in on the rebuild for sure.
But Dame has to be gone during that rebuild.
Yeah, I thought he should have been priority number one to move before CJ, but they're for whatever reason they're full in on trying to stick it out with Dame and still not gonna work out. But do what you do.
Facts. I have LeBron James.
We gotta make that one a soundbite because I feel like I just got played.
Those other guys are cool. I have LeBron James. I need to win one game. We making it to the playoffs at bare minimum.
They're in the play. All right.
They'll probably end up
getting close to time. Close to.
Just run this tape again if you're gonna ask me again. I'm repeating everything I just said. Just run the tape again.
All right, man. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Nah, that's it.
Quick show, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we do got some special stuff coming up for you. You guys showed us mad love last year when came in with Coach KD, Wrestling Superfan, Uncle Tony, when we did the bracket breakdowns. We got the March Wrestling Madness coming up again here soon. Looking to do another bracket breakdown next week. So be on the lookout for that. Just got a new article posted, by the way. You guys should check out that. And Kayson is out here doing good things too. Y'all definitely need to check out the things that Kayson's doing. Follow that page that he's got going on as well.
Word. Shout out to us. And let's keep it going.
For sure, for sure. So it's Rich, it's Kayson. We'll see you guys next time.